Do you think street food is dangerous? In this video, I am going to explain to you why street food should be part of your travel experience and how to do it safely. When people start traveling, they often think about street food and say, no thanks. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get food poisoning. And yes, you totally can. But street food is not always the only place that you can get food poisoning. Now, there is good reason to have those worries, is because you paid a lot of money for your trip and you don't want to be in your accommodations for days on end, being sick and missing out on your trip. One of the things that I do love about street food is that it will completely immerse yourself into the culture of that country that you're in. Street food plays a big part in locals' lives because they will eat there instead of restaurant meals, for a lot of the time. So it is a great way to try new things, to try things that are not going to be super expensive and be able to feel like a local. Depending on where you are in the world, street food is interpreted a little bit differently. So this could include street stalls. It could do street carts or food carts. It could also be outdoor markets. It could be storefronts with no seating areas, or it could just be inexpensive to go food. So everywhere is a little bit different. So you want to understand what that street food looks like wherever you're going. Now, it can be just as dangerous to eat in a restaurant as it is to eat street food. Now, this is depending on where you are in the world as well as how busy restaurants are there. Now, when you are in a place, if a restaurant is not busy, sometimes you just don't realize it. You might be, wanting to go eat when it's not a busy time. But when you don't know those things, you don't know what's going on in the back in the kitchen. Has the food been sitting out for a long time? Has it been pre-cooked and it's not getting rewarmed, or is getting rewarmed and it's just not safe to eat? What is the water that they are using to wash all of the food with? So with street food, you usually have a very wide open space where people are cooking and using all of the ingredients, so you can see what is going on with that food. Now, there are a few rules that I like to follow when I go and eat street food, which is wherever I can. But there are definitely ways that I choose which street foods I go and try and which ones I kind of avoid. Now, the first one I do is when there's street cart, I will go to the busy ones. So anything with a lineup, anything that has a quick turnover of food. The more quick the food is being turned over, the more it's being cooked hot and fresh. So it's going to be a lot safer to eat. Next, I go for cooked food over raw food. So I tend to avoid fruits and vegetables because you don't know what type of water that they are using to wash these in. Now, this is a little different when you have fruit that has its own peel. It's basically its own protective cover. So if it's peelable, then definitely you can eat it. But all the other stuff, that's where you're going to get a lot of the food poisoning, is from the fruits and vegetables that is washed in contaminated water. Now, you don't have to worry about this in places where the water is not contaminated and it's drinkable water out of the tap, but it's in places where you cannot drink the tap water. Next, I'm not afraid to ask for food to be cooked fresh in front of me. Sometimes they'll have pre-cooked food and it's just sitting there and they'll want to serve that to me. I ask for something that is cooked fresh in front of me. Now, not all vendors are going to want to do that for you, but you can ask and then you can make the decision to either continue to have that food or you can move on to another stall. Next is you want to eat when the locals eat. Now, this may be different from when you eat at home, so like your breakfast, lunch, dinner type thing, depending on when you're going to be eating this food, is you want to eat when all the locals are, because that's when all that food is going to be cooked fresh, hot, and it's going to be a quick turnover. And then next, you want to be very aware of ice. Now, I'm sure that we are all conditioned to be aware of ice. If you can, find out how the ice is made of where you are purchasing something, and then you are able to decide if it's going to be safe for you or not. Now, most people are just going to think of ice in drinks, but you also want to think of smoothies and fruit shakes and those types of things that have ice blended into those drinks. Lastly, you also want to understand how your body works. Now, some people have a lot stronger stomachs than others. If you have a weak stomach, that will, definitely give you your risk assessment on what you're going to be eating and what you're going to try and avoid. But I do highly recommend that you try the street food, because it is some of the best food. The locals eat it. It's going to bring you closer to that culture and have something different than what you can get in restaurants. So I hope these tips help you out in making sure that you choose some street food when you are traveling. Now, if you liked what you saw here, please subscribe to my channel. I talk all things travel and photography. If you have any questions, please put them down below. I would love to answer those for you. Anything else, please reach out to me. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye-bye.